Hi everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to be working with blemishes and wrinkles. And the first thing we're going to do is choose one of the most powerful tools for this is going to be the spot healing brush. That thing is pretty much magic. It's amazing. Now, one thing to know is that we're going to be doing a lot of changes to the skin, and I don't want to make them on the background image because that will permanently change our image. What I want to do is create a new layer by clicking that icon. Now I'm going to make all my changes on this layer. So if there's anything at any time in the future I want to go back and change, I can do that. Um, but if I make the changes only on the background image and then save and close the image, I can never go back and change things if I'm not happy with them later. So create the new layer here. On the spot healing brush, make sure sample all layers is selected, and this way, as I work on that layer, it will affect the background image, but there won't be permanent changes to the background image. Also, we want to click on Content Aware. This makes Photoshop use the characteristics of surrounding pixels, pixels that surround the brush in determining how it works. You can experiment with Create Texture and Proximity Match, but for my money, Content Aware is the hands-down winner. Now also I want to choose Lighten as the painting mode here for a simple reason. If you take a look at the spots in here, they're all darker than what I want them to look at. So I want to lighten them. So I'm going to choose the painting mode of Lighten. Now it's pretty simple and straightforward. You can either, in some instances, just click, or that didn't really do the job too well. How about a click and drag? Beautiful. Very, very, very good. Click and drag. Very, very good. Click and drag. As you do your work, you'll need to be making your brush size bigger or smaller. And again, if you want to make it smaller, use the open bracket key. To make it larger, the closed bracket key. And you will see that sometimes if you make your brush size too small when you're trying to make changes, it's real hard. You want it to be a little bit bigger than the spot you're trying to fix. There's one click, didn't really do enough. How about another click? Not really enough. How about a click and a drag? That's fine. Good. This thing is so good, and it's just magic, absolutely. So it almost gets to the point of being tedious in that it's just simply a mechanical drill of doing this and getting her all done. Over here on the right hand image, I've got a blood vessel I might want to just lighten up a little bit and just trace across it like that. And beautiful, gorgeous job. A freckle over there, and that's gone. A freckle down on the neck, and that's gone. Okay, let's work on these crow's feet a little bit, and also the lines around the mouth here a little bit. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. Good. Now, again, I want to just make that brush size just a little bit smaller. Let's try that and see what happens if I just click and drag right along that line there. Beautiful job. Same thing with this one. Let's try that. Good. Don't overdo it in Photoshop. Like I mentioned all the time, there is a tendency to overdo it, and at some point it can get to where the skin is just looking phony and fake. So skin is not perfect. No skin is perfect. So don't try to make the skin perfect. It will look unnatural and unhuman-like. Now here's a good example here. We have a wrinkle here, but we also have a fold of skin here. Now the fold of skin is lighter. And remember, I have this on lighten mode. So as I click and drag this, it's going to lighten up the dark, but it won't touch the lighter stuff. Right across here. I don't care if I do get right on that that lighter part, it won't touch it, which it didn't right there. Now, if I did want to work on this lighter part here a little bit, what I need to do is set the mode to darken because I want to darken that place up. Come back up. Might want to make the brush just a little bit bigger. And let's see what happens when we do this. And it worked on the lighter part. Now I see some darker parts in here and I want to lighten them up a little bit. So come back and choose the lighten mode again. And maybe we can try that and see how that works. Worked pretty good. Let's go back to 100% zoom. Not bad, not bad. That's the general idea. You can spend more time on that, going back and forth between lighten and darken with your spot healing brush to clean it all up. And again, don't try to make the skin look perfect. It will end up looking phony. Okay, the other tool we're going to use is the patch tool. And this one's pretty much magic also. Now in this one, interestingly enough, this does have choices of modes of normal and content aware. Now on this one, if you choose content aware, it can work really horribly. So the default mode is going to be normal and leave it as normal. Now the other thing with the patch tool is that it has to work on the actual image itself. You can't make any changes like this. There's no, drill through to all layers choices on this. So you have to work on the image itself. But again, if I make any mistakes or screw it up or I save the image and want to come back and make changes, I can't if I work on this original image here. So I'm going to duplicate this background with the keyboard shortcut Command J on a Mac or Control J on a Windows machine. And again, you can do it manually, the old style way of layer, new, and layer via copy, and there's the keyboard shortcut. So now I'm going to work on this one. I've got the patch tool selected, and what I'm going to do is come down here, and I'm going to make a selection around this wrinkle right here. Once the selection is made, I'm going to drop inside of it and I'm going to do a click and drag and come over to a nice smooth part of the skin and release, and it will blend it. Now do a Command D or Control D to remove the marching ants selection. Let's try it again with this one over here. It's not too bad, not bad at all. Okay, and again, I can't reinforce it enough. Be careful with the changes you make. You may end up just making the skin look phony or unnatural. And one last technique we're going to look at is to try to find semi-hidden blemishes in skin. Sometimes if you take a look at your image, there will be blemishes that are much harder to see than others, although they are there. So how are we going to reveal them? This is how we're going to reveal them. First thing I'm going to do is come here and I'm going to set a black and white right here, and I'm going to pull down the reds, and I'm going to pull down the yellows a little bit. Now it does start making the image very garish. Don't worry about that. Okay, so I've got my black and white layer up here. It's very dark, it's way too dark. So now what I want to do is lighten up the shadows a little bit by coming down here, selecting curves and taking the shadow portion of the curve and clicking and coming up a little bit right there would be fine. Now I want the curves under the black and white layer. So I'll click and drag that down. Now also we are looking good. We've got our layer right here where we're going to make adjustments with the spot healing brush, and the spot healing brush is still set to lighten. Now let's just bring this up a little bit here, and now very good. What this is going to do is really reveal and make it much more contrasty in terms of finding more blemishes on the skin than maybe you would otherwise if you're just looking at your original image. Click and drag to turn off the visibility of both. Click and drag to turn it back on again. You could make a nice comparison. And there might be some areas you're going to find that otherwise you couldn't find. Make sure you're on that adjustment layer for your spot healing brush. Again, this layer will not work with the patch tool because it'll tell you that no pixels are selected. Remember, this one is for the patch tool. and that one's for the spot healing brush. And then just come back in here, and if you see any other additional areas that you would like to fix up, go ahead and do that, and good luck to you. That should pretty much do it. Very good, okay. So that's about everything I have to show you on blemishes and wrinkles. When you're finally finished with that, I would click on that black and white layer, then do a command click or control click to take the curves layer and take them both down, and boom, get rid of them. Come back here, command 1 on your keyboard or control 1 on a Windows machine to come back to 100% size on your image, and you're done. Good work. There's the spot healing brush changes that we made, and there is the patch tool adjustments that we made. Good. Again, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.